We are live, unless we're not, and we're recorded. Good morning. It's Karen from Salt and Sand Studio. Today is Backbend Day. Recommending a low cushion or a block if you have one, but not required. um, as mentioned in the write-up, the truth is about my back that it's not that bendy. I have chronic low back issues, but there are ways we can work with that. Bridge pose is our ultimate pose today, but we'll take more of a Pilates style bridge if that is more suitable, especially for your low back. You're always welcome to take the standard yogic bridge and have variations of that. It's a go-to pose. It's one of the first poses most of us learned in yoga, but it's something we can continue to learn from. And as our bodies change over time, we can find ways to manifest bridge, which is really the Sanskrit name for bridge, which I can't pronounce. Means a bridge created from all four limbs, all of your limbs. So we're going to work our way up to that with a little bit of hamstring work, a little bit of quad work. And of course, the whole notion of the back bend is to let the heart shine. So opening the shoulders and opening the chest are important. So you could say, I need to do a Cobra in order to do a bridge. I need to do a hero's pose in order to do a bridge. You could also say, I've done a bridge. Now I need to do a Cobra pose. Today, instead of Cobra, I will guide us through Sphinx or low Cobra. Again, due to the focus, which is back bending for not-so-bendy people. So we're going to start with a mudra. I talked about the beauty of the pose of bridge being shining the heart, this notion of brilliance, of the amazingness of your heart. So we're going to take a mudra called don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, the Teja Mudra. So bring your hands in front of your chest. Bring the inner edges of the thumbs to connect. Connect the tips of your index fingers and then leave the rest of the fingers open. Stretch as much as possible, which kind of looks a little bit like a flower starting to open. And then some portion of that, if it can, comes in front of the heart, not touching the heart, and the elbows are down. So it's almost like there's a little magnifying glass on your heart, the gem that is your heart, and the light of that gem shines through this hole and gets this amazing treatment of brilliance to shine out to others. So with that, maybe that makes you bring a little smile to your face. We're going to close the eyes or cast them downward and begin to notice the breath. Kind of cool out today, so maybe you want to add Ujjayi breath, slight constriction at the back of the throat. Maybe you can imagine you're facing your hand gesture and looking through the little window that it creates into your heart and notice an actual gem nestling in your heart. Notice the light hitting all of the facets of that gem. Admire the color, the brightness, the brilliance. Now the warmth and compassion of your own heart, whether you feel that now or sometimes. Allow that to start to shine through the gem. And it becomes focused with your mudra and then spreads far and wide, as if you could send a little love and kindness to everybody. Tuck your chin, press the top of the back of the head backward like you're resting it on a car seat headrest. Next breath out, drop your hands by your sides. On an inhale, arms come wide and then up overhead. On an exhale, palms face down and the arms lower. Deep inhale, arms wide and up. Complete exhale, palms forward, arms down. One more time, arms out. Keep reaching upward. Palms forward, arms down. This time we're going to switch it. Stay here. We're going to take a little shrug of the shoulders up. Breath in. Press the shoulders behind, release and breath out. Inhale, palms face up, arms lift forward and up. Exhale, palms out and arms wide and down by your sides. Palms face up, inhale, lift. Palms face out, exhale, lower. One more round, almost like we've created this half of an egg around us, protecting us. Keep the right hand down, float the left arm high. Secure the sitting bones to the earth, draw the belly in, reach with the torso. Exhale, a tilt over toward the right. Heart shining with brilliance. Inhale, lift upward. Exhale, left hand by your side. Shrug the shoulders up to your ears. Breath in. Breath out, send the behind and release. Left hand down, right arm high. Velcro those sitting bones and the tailbone to the earth. Lift from the top of the pelvis all the way to the middle finger on the right hand. Exhale, tilt to the left. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, right hand drops. Crawl the hands behind you. Just going to think about a back bend just from the middle of the back upward. So you're going to press the fingertips into the earth. The fingertips face your body. Lower the shoulders from the ears. Lift from the pelvis all the way through the rib cage and upward. Shine the heart. Start to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Just a little baby movement to start to get the feel of it. Maybe the head drops back. Tuck the chin. Stack the shoulders over the hips. Sweep the arms in front. We're going to find a nice long spine. Walk those hands forward as far as you can till you can't walk them forward anymore. And then I promise you can if you take a nice big breath in. Squeeze the belly on the breath out. Find a little more real estate. Yes, another 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, 1/2 of an inch, 2 inches. The head drops. Nod the head, shake the head. Loosen the jaw, waggle the eyebrows. Feel the space in the eye sockets start to soften. On a breath out, strong belly, walk the hands backward until they can come behind you again. You can shift onto your sacrum and switch the cross of your feet. And we'll take all that again. Arms sweep around, hands in front, a big breath in. A breath out. We reach, finding as long a spine as we possibly can, maybe even a straight spine. The belly draws in lightly. Go as far as you can, right to the edge. Breathe in. Squeeze the belly. Exhale, walk forward, however much more the body allows. Maybe you start to feel the hips open. The spine makes space amongst all the vertebra. Belly strong, breath out. Rise up to your seat. Once again, sweep the arms out and up overhead. This time we exhale and the palms come together at your heart. Thank you for joining practice today. We're now going to set our intention. You might decide that this is about what brought you to your mat. Maybe it's about an aspiration, or maybe it's something much, much simpler, or something you're already working on. Intention, motivation, or even a dedication. Repeat that to yourself 3 times as I say the word resolve. Resolve. Use the breath. Resolve. Resolve. The more physical part of the practice will be headed into starting with the chant of Om. Not required to chant, but if you would like to, feel free. We'll take a cleansing breath first. Super deep breath in. Full, complete breath out. Inhale again, fill right up. We are going to move into lion's pose, partly because it's cold, but partly because it starts to give us a little bit of a quad stretch. If you are sitting on a prop, feel free to release it at this time. If you need a prop underneath your thighs in lion, as lion is sitting back on your heels, sometimes that's too much of a bend for people's knees. You can always roll something up, place it behind your knees, and sit back down. If this pose doesn't work for you at all, feel free to take it seated with legs crossed. Our knees are together. Our big toes are together. Heels of the hands draw to the hip creases. We're going to take cat-cow shapes to start before we move into lion. So for the cat shape, belly draws in, breath moves out. Heels of the hands are guided toward the knees. Head drops, spine is rounded. Inhale, drag the heels of the hands for a cow shape. Heels of the hands come back toward the hip creases. Little baby back bend, shoulders back, maybe the chin lifts a little bit. And back to your cat. Into the cow. I don't know, maybe everything is an animal today except bridge. And cat. And cow. Neutral spine where we'll start for lion. So we're going to take a big, did I say big breath in. And then when we release the breath, it's going to come forcefully out of the mouth. Eyes will open wide and the tongue juts out. So take a nice big breath in. Again. Going to shift onto your right hip and then scoot your left knee behind your right foot. So your right foot is on your left thigh. So this is also an opportunity for a bit of a quad stretch. You want to activate both feet so you're not squishing your toes or scrunching your knees. And then your choice, you might take a twist that's on the same side as your left knee is pointing, or the opposite side your left knee is pointing. If you'd like to take both, feel free. It doesn't work for everyone's spine, but you can move back and forth using the breath, opening up a bit in the groin and starting our early twists, which will help in bridge as well. So spine, heart, quads, hamstrings we have not done yet. We'll get everything else in seated. We're going to take that to the other side, scooting the left leg around to the front. We swing the right leg behind us with a bent knee. and place the sole of the left foot onto the right quad. Again, maybe twisting to the same side as your right knee, maybe twisting to the opposite, or maybe moving through both. There'll be another variation on that lion working into heroes later before we go into our bridge. We're going to come back to center, draw the soles of the feet together, nice big diamond inside the legs, knees drop out. They might be lifted like mine. My hips are a little tight. If it's uncomfortable, if it's an uncomfortable lift, you can always take a block or a pillow and place it outside to the outside edge of your leg. We're going to scoot the hands, if possible, underneath the ankles. So your wrists come under your ankles then, and then the palms or the fingers come to the tops of the feet. We take a big breath in. On an exhale, let the elbows encourage the knees away and down, and reach your heart forward, forward, forward. Drop your head. This is instead of our typical child's pose that we start with. We're going to lift out of this, find our way to a tabletop. Get that all scheduled up, organized up. A small issue with my left knee today. Fingers nice and wide, belly button in. Shoulder blades nice and wide. Walk the hands forward a couple of inches. Tuck your toes under and move your way into downward facing dog. Also one of the first poses most of us learn, but often an opportunity to continue learning from. The feet should not be together, but they should also not be wider than your shoulders. You might pedal in and out of the feet here if that feels right, or good, or yummy, or instinctive. Let me pause for a little stillness. Sitting bones reaching to the sky, a breath in. A breath out, chest presses toward the thighs. Inhale, rise to your tippy toes. Bend the knees a lot. Look past your hands. Make your way to them for a forward fold at the front of the mat. You could walk, skip, hop, jump, crawl. Forward fold, feet, outside edges of the feet parallel to the outside edges of your mat. If your belly is not in contact with your thighs, soften your knees for safety. I'd like to say that I'm taking off my outer layer because I am 100% warmed up from the inside, but I turned the heat on today, at least in the studio. Finding your fold and moving into Ardha Uttanasana, your half lift. Hands can glide to the shins, press them away along spine. We're now working our hammies. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Breathe out, forward fold. One more time, halfway lift. Pause here for an extra round of breath. Shoulders toward the hips, belly button toward the spine, sitting bones reaching behind, crown of the head reaching forward. On a breath out, forward fold. Root to rise, press to standing, grounded into the earth. Heavy top of the body until the shoulders stack over the hips. And then sort of angel shape as the arms reach out and up overhead. Moving into Samastihi, hands together at the heart. A beautiful place to notice the strength of the body, the brilliance of the heart. And even if it was just for a split second, the calmness of the mind. Come back to your intention or motivation. Breathe that in as you sweep your arms high overhead. Exhale for a forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Clasp your hands at your low back. You could interlace the fingers or just hook them. And reach farther back with your knuckles. Maybe Lifting the arms a little bit or a lot of it from the body. Let the head go. Starting to open up the shoulders, which we did with some original basic movements, seated. Exhale, hands release. Step the left foot to the back of the mat, runner's lunge. We're going to work our hamstrings a bit here. So press into the heel of the front foot, straighten the leg and fold over it. It might not be very straight. Peel the heart forward, runner's lunge. Lengthen and fold. Runner's lunge. You might need to move your hands back and forward. Exhale, lengthen and fold. Step up for Parsvottanasana. Left foot steps halfway up the mat. If you need blocks, take them, or a pillow. Right hip driving backward in space. So press that whole right foot into the earth and drop your head. Back leg powered up. Release your block, step forward, forward, fold, rise to standing. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. And a forward fold, a step back for your high plank. Powering this up a little bit, keeping the hips nice and square. Slowly lower all the way to the mat. See if you can go nose, chin, chest, hips. And if you like, you can move into a baby cobra, keeping it low. Or we find our way to Sphinx. Elbows draw underneath the shoulders. And it's as if the hands and the forearms are drawing the mat backward. Heart reaching forward between the thumbs, shining and brilliance. The loosening of the glutes. And a shifting forward of your hips. Breathing here. 3. Squeeze the shoulder blades. 2 and 1. All the way down to the mat. Into a downward facing dog. Maybe through a tabletop or a child's pose. With just the briefest reminder, a child's pose can be yours at any time. For any reason or no reason. Downward facing dog. Make your way to the front of your mat. A forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Rise all the way to standing. Exhale, cactus shape arms. Forearms draw together in front of you. It's the saloon door move. And open up. This time, eagle arms, right elbow underneath the left. 1 rep or 2. Elbows lift. If you'd like a bit more of a stretch, you can take a little hug of yourself. See if you can scoot the fingers closer together on your back. And then lengthen your left arm out to the right. Draw the right palm in front of your face and squeeze the forearm of the right arm inward. You can always take a little twist over to the right and come forward again. Arms sweep out and up. If you didn't get that, we're doing it on the other side, cactus-shaped arms. Saloon doors, forearms come together. Inhale, cactus. Eagle arms this time left under right. Elbows lift, shoulder height are higher. Hands are floating from the face. Tailbone is a little tucked. And if you'd like to play around again, keep the elbows as they are, but go ahead and hug yourself. Scoot the fingertips toward your shoulder blades. And lengthen the right arm so the fingers are pointing to the left. Bend the left elbow so the left palm is in front of your face. Lift the left elbow and squeeze the forearm in. A twisty twist, if you like, over to the left and then over to the right. Arms float out and up overhead. Cactus shape arms once again. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Sit into chair pose, Utkatasana. Working to keep the low back a little flatter than we might normally think, so that we're taking some of the weight and energy out of the low back, keeping it in the belly. Nice long spine with a little back bend in the upper back. Maybe sit a little bit deeper, rise up to the balls of the feet. Sit deeper, keep your heels lifted. See if you can stay that low and draw the heels back down. Nice. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Breathe out for a fold. Right foot glides. Let's not drag to the back of the mat. Runner's lunge. Get yourself situated here and lengthen your front leg, fold over it. Your hips will lift a little bit more. You'll send energy into that back heel, which remains off the mat. Inhale, peel forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, lengthen and fold. Inhale, runner's lunge. Exhale, lengthen and fold. Inhale, runner's lunge. This time we're going to drop the back knee to the mat. Untuck your toes. Anjaneyasana modified if you need. Your hands could be by your sides, overhead, at your heart, or on your thigh. I like to start with my heels of the hands on my thigh because then I can press that away to start to feel the stretch in the psoas, the front of the hip flexor. But you can find that as well with the hands dropping by your sides or overhead, finding your back bend in a way that makes sense for you. As you draw the belly strong, lift it, squeeze the shoulder blades together, let the heart's brilliance shine upward. Hands will frame your front foot to find your half split. Just realize we didn't do Parsvottanasana on the other side, so we'll make sure we work that in. Half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. Think about a long spine. Maybe the hands move backward. And if there's a bend in your knee, that's totally cool, but we're working our hamstrings here. Imagine you're drawing the left heel backward in space. I'm not sure where else you would draw it backward, but definitely in space. Can you draw it backward in time? Probably not. So we'll move to Parsvottanasana on this side. Left foot plants, back toes tuck, shift the hips high, and then hop your back foot halfway up the mat. Taking your time, finding a prop if you need it, working into the heel and the ball of the front foot and the outer edge and the heel of the back foot. Back foot steps up to meet the front. We take a halfway lift. And a forward fold, rise into standing. Arms into a cactus shape. Find the stacking of the knees over the ankles, a little lift of the inner arches of the feet. Drop your hands behind you. You may interlace your fingers or hook them. If you're more on the hook side like I am, see if you can hook them the opposite way you did before. Draw the knuckles down, lengthen the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades toward each other like they're falling in love, and start to feel the brilliance, like in the mudra of the heart gem, in the light of compassion, spreading across the chest to open up the collarbones. You might just find a little bit more space, and then sit into chair pose again. Utkatasana. Maybe feet are wide, maybe you have a block between your knees. Belly strong, tailbone a little tucked, opening up the chest, the rib cage, thighs as if they're spinning toward each other. Exhale, find a fold over your legs. Keep your bind. If your hamstrings are tight like mine, you might need to bend the knees, but let the head go. Exhale, hands release, halfway lift. And a forward fold. The left foot steps way to the back of the mat, runner's lunge. And we drop the back knee to the earth, finding our Anjaneyasana, our knee down lunge. Adjusting as needed, as I just did. And seeing if we can find first the stretch in the front of the hip crease. And then secondly, the back bend. So you might start with something small. Drop the hands or lift the hands. Lifting from the top of the pelvis all the way to the sternum, which starts to expose the rib cage and the heart a little bit more. Letting the heart shine brilliantly upward rather than forward as you draw the shoulder blades toward one another like they're magnetically attracted. On an exhale, hands frame your front foot, find your half split. Imagine that the pinky toe side of the foot is drawing toward your armpit. Right foot plants on the earth. Hands come inside the right foot. We tuck the back toes under, lift the left knee off the mat, and then we pivot to the long edge of the mat, toes in, heels out. An opportunity to open up the inner thighs, find a little power in the legs, and open up the hamstrings. We're going to start with a twist. Left fingertips down on the mat under your nose, and the right arm floats high, or you're welcome to draw into a half bind. Half bind could be with the heel of the hand at your low back, or maybe working the fingers toward your left hip crease. Long spine breath in, make space. Huge breath out for the twist. Inhale. Exhale, right hand replaces where the left hand is. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the left. Left hand down to that. We're going to pivot to face the back of the mat, a runner's lunge. To find our way into, let's do a warrior one. So bring the right heel to the back of the mat. Bend your left knee. Rise up for your warrior one. Adjusting your feet as need be to bring your hips as square to the front of the mat as possible. Arms can come overhead, hands at your heart, or cactus shape, which I'm going to take to find the gentle back bend here. So last standing posture before we go down to the hero's pose and then down to the mat for our back bends. Last sequence, not the last posture. Reach your arms out in front of you and then open up to a warrior two, facing the long edge of the mat. You might need to lengthen your stance, and your right foot should now be parallel to the original front of your mat. Your gaze is over your left middle finger. The left knee is drawing away and forward. Left palm flips, we reverse the warrior, feeling the rib cage expand and an opening all along the left side of the body. You might feel it elsewhere, but that's what we're working toward. A nice juicy bend in the front knee, an opening all along the left side with the rib cage around the body, feeling larger and larger. Warrior 2, hands to your hips. Lengthen your left leg and point the toes to the long edge of the mat. We're going to take our warrior 2 on the other side. So the right toes point to the original front of your mat. Bend your right knee. Arms come out in a T. Front arm flips for a reverse. Power up that left leg. Squeeze that right thigh out from the midline. Hands will frame your front foot. Come to the ball of the back foot for your runner's lunge. Adjusting as need be to come into your warrior 1 on this side. Finding your back bend with whatever arm flavor feels good to you, whatever bling of the hands. Exhale, hands frame your front foot, step back for your high plank, and then drop your knees. If you are familiar with Hero's Pose and you can take it on your own safely, feel free. I don't go very far in Heroes, but you draw the knees together, sitting back toward the heels, but you open up the feet so the hips would come between the feet. I like to sit on a block because my knees are not quite that agile at this time. So you might find you can sit on a block, the lowest level or the mid-level, or a pillow. And you might stay here. You might bring your hands to your thighs or take another bind or arm gesture. Or you might move into your full Heroes or a partial Heroes. I'm going to take my fists and bring them to the arches of my feet. I'm going to start to shift backward, keeping the belly strong. I'm then going to go ahead and lift the hips away from the earth, from the block actually. Lengthen in the torso, squeeze the shoulders together. You might move your fingers now behind your toes. Pressing the tailbone toward the sky. We're opening up the hip flexors, the quads, finding a little back bend, but keeping it out of the low back. So draw the belly in, draw the spine long, drop your head behind. Drawing the belly in, we come upright. We're going to find our way into a seat. Working into the last 12 minutes of our practice, of our 50-minute practice. Draw onto your bottom. Scoot the bottom forward, knowing that you're coming down to the mat, but go ahead and bend your knees so the soles of the feet are on the mat. Give yourself a little hug of compassion. The forearms wrap around the shins and the head drops. Nice substitute for a child's. It requires a little more effort than a child's possibly. Draw the belly in. See if you can make a little more real estate to get closer to your thighs. And then really slowly guiding the hands along up the legs to the knees. We're going to roll all the way down to the mat. If you like or need to have a block under your sacrum for a bridge, take it here. If you do not have low back issues, you can take a standard shape for your bridge made of all of your limbs. If you have low back issues or want to try out a different route, which does involve the glutes a little bit more, you scoot the heels toward the bottom, bring the hands by your sides, palm facing down. One at a time, shift your shoulder blades toward your hips. Everybody can do this. And then if you like the modified bridge, you move the feet forward about 4 inches. Gain purchase with the hands and the feet. Tilt the tailbone up. Feel that tilt. Tuck your chin a little bit by lengthening the back of the neck. Take a breath in and a full breath out. On a breath in, shift the tailbone toward the sky. Float the knees forward, lifting the bottom off the mat. It might not come very far. If you are in the Pilates style bridge, the modified bridge, you're going to squeeze the hamstrings and the glutes as well as point the tailbone up. If you're in a standard bridge, you're also going to squeeze the hamstrings, but loosen your glutes. This is great for the core. As you start to shimmy the shoulder blades underneath you, maybe you have enough real estate to interlace your fingers underneath you, but only if that gives you extra height. Lift the heart toward the crown of the head. Now we have our full back bend, hopefully pointing the tailbone toward the sky to take the dumping energy out of the low back. We breathe here for 3, 2. Thighs squeezing toward each other, but knees are not touching. Exhale, 1 vertebra at a time, all the way down to the mat. We will not do a whole twist yet, but you might go ahead and place the feet wide and let the knees touch. Working that low back a little more back to the mat. Feet come hips with distance, wide hips with distance. Pilates style bridge, they're not that close to the bottom. Standard yogic bridge, they are. Shoulder blades scoot toward the hips on each side. Tailbone points up, so you're pressing the low back to the earth. Chin tucks. That's the one I always adjust antithetical to the guidance while I'm in the pose itself. So I have to remind myself to tuck the chin. On a breath in, point the tailbone, shift the knees forward, lift the hips. Squeeze the hammies, squeeze the glutes, lift the tailbone toward the sky, and then the shoulder blades draw toward one another, creating a concaveness between them so you can lift your heart a little bit more. Back bending for the not-so-bendy as we lift the heart toward the crown of the head. And we breathe for 3. If you like a modification, you're welcome to bring one foot more to the center of the mat and then lift the opposite knee toward your chest and take that to the other side. 2, that was a really long breath. And 1, unzip all the way to the mat. We're going to take 1 more of those before we move into the twist. So if it's helpful, feet as wide as your mat, knees touch. If 2 is enough for you, you're welcome to move into something else, like a happy baby or a shoulder stand if you can take it safely. Or if you're not a not-so-bendy person, maybe you are ready for a wheel. Feet placed hips width distance. Work your way into your final back bend or whatever other posture is suiting you in this moment. Three to 5 breaths. And we unzip. Each knuckle of the spine meeting the mat. This time, we'll go ahead and bring the feet as wide as the mat. Let the knees touch. Open up the shoulder blades again. Press the low back to the earth. Spread the arms wide, palms face up, and you can windshield wiper the legs a few times, left and right or right and left. And then after a few of those swipes, we'll drop the knees all the way to the right. Turn the head toward the left hand. And if you have more twist available, you can take the right ankle and place it outside the left knee. Feels super good to the belly, at least for me. It helps open up that rib cage a little bit more on the left side, sending that energy from the left hip forward on the mat. It's an opportunity still for the heart to shine its brilliance out and up. So you might come back to that image of the gem and the heart, and the facets and the color and the light shining and spreading and sharing compassion. Other side, unhook your ankle if it's hooked. Feet as wide as your mat. Knees drop over to the left. Head turns to the right. And again, if you did on the other side, taking the left ankle this time and placing it to the outside of the right knee. Gives you a little bit of extra weight and leverage of gravity to deepen the twist. Release the ankle, let the knees point back toward the sky. Shift your spine if needed to make it as straight as it would normally be, top to bottom. Hug the knees into the chest. You could find a little knee circles, or you could take a happy baby, or maybe legs up the wall. Maybe you draw the knees toward the armpits and cross the ankles. You could grab the outside edges of the feet then, and draw the feet and the knees toward the armpits. And if you have taken something asymmetrical, like I've just suggested, you'll cross the ankles the other way. Same gig. And any little wiggles, waggles, wobbles, or any additional postures you need before Shavasana, take them now and move into your final resting posture. We'll take a few breaths in Shavasana. I have chosen the standard traditional posture with legs long, space between the feet, arms long, space between them and the side bodies. We breathe effortlessly. Now taking a deep breath in, reach the toes forward, the arms overhead, maybe the thumbs hook. Find a full body pencil stretch, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in, and in a teeny bit more, just sipping a little bit more air. Let everything go. Find your way onto one side. Then make your way up to a comfortable seat. From here, we will close our practice as we begin with a chant of Om, palms to the heart, breath out, breath in. Om. Thumb knuckles connect right at your third eye center, right in the middle of your forehead. May your intentions and motivations support you this entire day and into your next week. Namaste. Thanks for all your good energy vibes over the interwebs. It was great to be here with you, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios. As always, you are invited here if you are in Vermont. Look us up. We are starting to move classes indoors, but we're trying to have a couple more outdoors. Our final stretch and sip is today at the Featherbed Inn, and we'll be working up a new schedule probably by the end of October. But we will continue to do our YouTube classes, so I look forward to not seeing you again in the near future and see you next week. Thank you.